I'm Trey Lefevre, and I bought a cheap full suspension mountain bike. Now, here's the caveat with that. The thing is that it was used. I did not buy a new bike. I bought one that had been ridden, one that had been kind of abused, and one that had been not taken care of. And I've learned a few things over that, and I want to share that with you. I'm going to take some time to add a disclaimer. When you're buying a used bike, you need to be looking at a few things. The first thing I recommend is looking over the frame. Make sure there's no dents, there's no cracks, there's no damage, that all the structural things are set and sound. Check the welding points. Make sure that you don't see any cracks there. There's gonna be a lot of stresses coming through these areas. Also go over the pivots in the frame. Make sure that they don't have any wobble, that they don't have any give, that they haven't been bored out. Make sure that they're tight. Next, I would recommend checking the second most important thing, that is the suspension. Check the forks, check the rear shock, make sure that the stanchions have no nicks, have any scarring, have any rubbing on them. Make sure that they've been serviced, that they've been cleaned, that the seals have been changed in them frequently. The third thing I would recommend is to check over the wheels. Check to see if they're straight, check to see if they're cracked or dented or bent. If they're bent, you're probably gonna be okay. You can bend those back out and trim up. If they're cracked or dented, they're pretty much done for. Next, I would recommend you check over the brakes. Do they actually work? Brakes are pretty important. You see, they stop you. You need to be able to stop. I would then move on to the drivetrain. Are there teeth missing out of the chain ring or the rear cassette? Are they worn? Has the chain been changed? Have the cables been changed or taken care of? The thing with the drivetrain though is it will wear out and that you will eventually have to change it or parts of it over time. What else is important on a bike? Another point of advice I would give is to make sure the bike actually fits you. You want it to be comfortable and something that you are confident in. One more point of advice when buying a used bike is have some conversation with the owner. Check to make sure that they've been taking care of it, that they've been cleaning it, that they've been maintaining it, that it hasn't been just ragged out and beat to death, that they've actually taken some pride in this thing. Now the truth of the matter is, some information on this bike will be omitted. Honestly, people just kind of forget things that might have happened or things that they might have neglected or things that they might have changed. Odds are they're not being malicious, they've just forgotten. So you need to know that when you buy a used bike, that there will be some things that you did not expect. Now behind me, this is my 2008 Giant Rain X2. It's old, it's heavy, the geometry is a little outdated, but it's so much fun and I absolutely love it. I've taken a lot of pride in this. I've been working on it over the past year and honestly, I've learned a ton from it. Now, there are a few things that I did to it when I got it. I first changed the tires. The old tires were kind of ragged out and they were beaten up. So I put some tires on that I wanted, that I thought would be good, and I've really enjoyed them. I then upgraded the brakes. The previous brakes, they weren't very great. There was very little stopping power and it scared me quite a few times the first time I rode the bike. I then went on to have the suspension serviced. I put new seals in it, I had new oil put in it, and got a super plush and just awesome feeling. I realized that the cassette and the chain were pretty worn, so I went ahead and put on a new cassette, which I fortunately had laying around in the garage, and a new chain. I also went on to put on some new cables, and that just got it shifting absolutely perfect. After I did all the necessary things to get this bike rideable, I went on to get a dropper post, because come on, everyone needs a dropper post. Over the past year, I put a lot of time, energy, and effort into this bike. But I've learned a lot of information on how a bike goes together, how a bike operates, and it's been super useful for me to be able to know how to work on a bike. So if you're looking to get a cheap full suspension mountain bike, I recommend you buy used. You're gonna get an awesome bike in the end, and you're gonna learn a lot. Once again, I'm Trey Lefevre. Wow.